through disengaging to bringing the front end through, or moving, turn on the haunches, turn on the forehand, however you want to call it. So I'm going to walk my horse forward. As I'm walking, I'm going to pick up the rein to the rail, and then ask my horse to bring his hind end off the rail with my outside leg. So the leg that's up against the fence is going to come on slightly to ask him to move his hind end off. And see how he's moved his hind end off 1 or 2 steps. I don't want it too far. And then I can come to a halt. Once I've got the halt, then I'm going to tip his nose to the right, come on with my left leg, and say, can you bring your front end around? And he actually did pretty well of coming all the way around, but you can start off with just tipping, asking the hind to come off the rail. See, he's stopping. Don't want him to stop yet. There, he halt. Now I can halt him. He gave me the hind, so then I can ask for the halt, and then I'm going to ask for the front to step on through, and I can walk off. So that was a nice, he moved the hind, then he moved the front. Now I can do it the other way. So I pick up, bend, move the hind end with my left leg, the leg closest to the rail. As soon as I get the hind to move, I halt. Then I open up with my hand closest to the rail, come on with the opposite leg, and move that front end through. I'll do that again. So I tip my horse to the rail. With the leg closest to the rail, I come on with it, asking him to move that hind end over. And let's say he doesn't give it to me right away. I can give him time. I'm just going to wait on him until he steps it over. And if you had a crop, you could help him a little bit with that if he doesn't move off of your leg. Crescent Shear's actually doing a pretty good job. He's moving pretty nicely. So I'll show you from this angle here. Tip my horse's nose to the rail. Ask the horse's hind end to come off the rail just 1 or 2 steps, and then come to a halt. Then I'm going to open up with the hand closest to the rail. The leg that's closest to the rail is just going to stay soft. I don't get stiff. I don't tighten it up. And now I'm going to come on with the inside leg and say, bring your front back to the camera. So I tip his nose, say, come on, move your front end through, and then I can walk off. And that was pretty nice. And I can set it up and do it again, ask for the hind, and move the front through. And I did that all at a halt, so I didn't want to get too close to the camera. So now I'm walking off, tip his nose to the rail, waiting for him to give me a bend in his neck first. So I'm kind of isolating the different parts out. So I get a bend in his neck, ask the hind to step off 1, 2 steps, change from my inside to my outside leg, or I should say from the leg on the rail to the leg that's off the rail. So now I'm going to bend his neck to the rail, come on with my leg that's on the rail, and halt. And I do that by just kind of softening, turning off. This is what commonly is going to happen, is your horse is going to stop and he's going to swing his hind end off the rail a few steps, and then he's facing pretty much straight into the fence. And then a lot of times when you ask the front, the hind end's what's going to move. So if that's the case, just be aware of it, and then try to, when you come to a halt, is to stop and keep your horse a little more in line with the fence. So So you're just asking the horse to come off with its hind end a little bit, and then ask the front to come through instead of the hind end to spin around. So he's doing pretty well there. So the next thing you can do is to ask the hind, or tip the neck, ask the hind, and then ask the front to come through. And can you bring it all the way around? Now that's going to be a little different because you're going to need a little outside rein here to keep your horse from going forward, because without the rail he's going to want to walk off into the arena. So I'm going to go this way and then show you it from the other direction. So I tip his nose to the rail, ask his hind to come off. Now I open up with my hand and leg, and the leg closest to the rail just really goes soft. Don't stick it out like that, because that tension will actually block the shoulder from moving. Tip and then come on with the leg away from, ask him to go all the way around, and then I can walk off. That was a nice turn on the haunches. So hind end, front end. We can just do one or two steps, or half a turn. And now I'm going to ask, once you can get this, all the pieces, then can you do it together? So like I'm walking along, I ask the hind, and then I can take it right into the front, bringing the front end all the way around. My goal is to keep the walk stride going, and then I could walk off. And now I'll tip and do a half circle, hind end, front end. So I've got a nice walk here. I'm not going to do a halt this time. But don't get in too big of a hurry to do it without the halt, because that's going to really set you up. But once you feel like you can try it, then go ahead and try it. So I tip the nose to the rail, hind end off the rail, front end through. I can go all the way around, and I can continue on. And now, once I have that, then I might be able to say, okay, halt, and bring your front end to the inside all the way around, and back off. So you can start doing variations. Or I'll come to a halt, tip my horse, ask the hind to go to the rail slightly, and then I'll ask the front to come around. And these are really the basics, the basis for your rollback. So I can halt, tip his hind to the rail, ask the front to come off the rail, and then the last part he kind of spun his hind end around. Most people are going to have trouble getting that hind end to stay put and getting the front to move around. Doing it actually away from the fence here can help you, because if I stop right on the rail and tip my horse away from the rail, see how his hind end is held by the fence there, and then I can ask the front to come through, and it holds the hind end till about that point there, and at that point it can't swing. So maybe you just do a quarter of a turn, and you could walk across to the other side of the arena, and you could set up and do it again. So there's lots of variations you can do with this, but the big thing is try to keep when you're asking for the hind end to move, the front end stays in a hula hoop size circle. And when you're moving the front end around the hind end, the same thing. You're keeping that in a hula hoop size circle. So